Wouldn't it be nice if we had a time machine for our daughters to where we could let them step into it and then transport them to several years in the future when they're an adult? Because coming into adulthood as a woman, as a young girl into womanhood, can be pretty challenging. There's so many changes, there's so many emotions, so many body things happening that it would be so nice to let our daughters step into the future and see it and get a glimpse of it before they walk through it. Well, in this video, I want to share with you that there is something that all of us as mothers or even as fathers have that can become that very time machine for our daughters. And what that is the front seat of the car. Now, this is so powerful, I believe, because when we're out with our kids and we're doing these intentional one-on-ones, no matter what their age, when we're parked somewhere, when we're getting ready to go out and do something, we can invite them into the front seat. And if we add some intention to that, we can make that the time machine I'm talking about. We can let them enter into adulthood with our stories that we share, with the encouragement that we give them, with the lessons that we've learned as women, as their mothers, as their mentors, that they can now get a glimpse into that future and be more prepared before they walk through it. My daughter is getting ready to turn 11 in a couple weeks, which is so exciting for her and our family. She's starting to step into womanhood in, those really tender first moments of it. And she's just recently been big enough to be able to sit in the front seat with me. And it's really incredible what happens as a parent. It's like, wow, I've been used to you in the back seat for all this time, and now you're shotgun with me. I remember the first day she came out with me where she was sitting in the front seat, and I thought, oh my goodness, this is a woman in training right now. This is no longer my little girl. This is a woman getting ready to happen right beside me. And it really made me realize that this front seat is an incredible place. We can turn it into a sacred spot for our daughters where we can sit and pour into them the stories, the lessons, the wisdom that we have as their mothers that we want them to carry along with them for the rest of their adult life. What I want to suggest to you is I don't believe that there is any age too young for this to take place. My youngest daughter is 3 years old, and I'm going to do this with her as well. I'm going to do it with my twins that are 5. I'm going to do it with my 8-year-old, along with my almost 11-year-old. I think there is never too young of an age to start making this front seat right here a sacred spot for them. Now, the younger they are, I feel like the more special it is because they really don't get to sit in the front seat often. So to be able to call them up and say, come up with mom and let me tell you about life is an incredible experience that is phenomenal to start. The younger, the better. Some of the best advice my husband and I got right before we had kids was, remember, you are raising adults and not children. When we're going through our everyday life, it's easy to forget that. It's easy to just deal with children as children. But childhood is adulthood training. According to the way that God has set up life, there's really not this adolescent teenage years where they go from childhood to adult. That's kind of how in our culture we look at it. But the way that God set it up is that when a person comes into maturity, right, when the changes in their body start to happen, that's when He calls them an adult. Now, we have to live in this system, right? We have to live in this culture. We don't send off our 13-year-old to go work, and it's not like how it was before. So I'm not saying that we need to, do something really weird and live outside of what it is in our culture. But what I'm saying is that when you have a mindset of everything before 12 years old is training for adulthood, and then when they step into that plus 12 years old, now they're actually just putting into practice all this stuff, all the adult training you have developed in them up until that point. Childhood is not a time to remain a child. It is a beautiful process of teaching them to be an adult. I believe that even at 2 years old, you can be teaching adult concepts, even when they are infants. Okay, before you think I'm crazy, let me explain. A baby comes out without the ability to know how to schedule. And if you're a good parent, what do you do right away? You put them on a schedule. You put them on a routine. That's an adult thing to do. And so when you start thinking of it like this, every single age and stage of a child, there is ways that we can be teaching them about adulthood. Right now, my 3-year-old, she can get very passionate with her emotions. She's definitely the most outspoken, the most expressive in her emotions. And one way that I can help her learn to be an adult right now at 3 years old is to know how to control those outbursts, right? To not let her just outburst and throw massive fits. I know there's a lot in the culture that will say you need to let them do that. Garbage. That's just garbage because we are not training children. We are not training children, we are training adults. One of the biggest problems in the world today is these adult bodies walking around that are still children because no one ever trained them up to be an adult. They didn't take the childhood years to train them into certain aspects of adulthood. And so they grew and grew and grew and turned into adult in their body, but they are still a child in their mind. This is not how we want to be parents, right? Let's transform this time, this space that we have. We all, most everyone listening to me, I would assume, has a car and has a front seat. And what a perfect spot to develop as a sacred spot, to develop as a spot that they can build memories from, to develop a spot that they know is consistent and they can think, okay, that's where mom's going to really tell me about who I am. That's where mom is going to show me what my future looks like. You know, because they're looking at us every single day, especially these little girls with their moms. They're looking at us like that's my future. So, what are we showing them? What are we training them in? And how simple it is to just put a little intention behind it. Get in your car. You might not even go anywhere. You could sit in your driveway and have these one-on-ones just in the evening sometime. Tell your husband, hey, I'm going to take so and so and we're going to have a little special time. Whatever the case, have somebody watch your other children and take that child into that sacred space. And you don't even have to leave the house. And you can have those meaningful, intentional one-on-ones. The front seat of the car can become a place of bonding and memories and training ground for your daughter that is going to last into her future. It is the time machine that you wish you could have so that you're setting her up for the good future that God has intended for her.